Welcome, college basketball fans, to the Full Court Press Podcast with LT and Sammy D. This is the podcast that brings you legendary stories from college basketball's golden era and dives in deep with a current analysis of today's game. Get ready for the most energetic and entertaining college basketball podcast around. Let's get it.
Sam, this is an anticipated, excited one. We got someone that's coming back again. You know what's amazing, Sam, is people actually come back to this show.
People want to talk to you again. It's crazy.
Not me, you maybe, but we got another great show. We got another great guest, another great conference, and let's just get right into it. Welcome to the Full Court Press Podcast, a college basketball experience. I'm Luke Taylor, Sam Davidson with me. We are talking Cowboys, McNeese Basketball with Coach Will Wade. Welcome back to the Full Court Press.
Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah. You've had a. I'm gonna cut Sam off because I know the question he's gonna ask you. How's your summer gone, Coach? Summer's over, Sam. College basketball season starts in a couple weeks.
Away, man. Yeah.
And this gentleman, I heard when he got hired, said he was guaranteeing 30 wins. How many guaranteeing this year, Coach?
No, we guaranteed 23. We won 30.
I'm Canadian. Everything's more in Canada.
Yeah. But look, we'll. I'm not guaranteeing any this year. That was my one. I called my one shot.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna do that again. But we've got a good team on paper. We got to make it a good team on the court.
Yep.
And we'll see. Our schedule's quite a bit more challenging than it was last year. Our league's gotten better. We've added Stephen F. Austin and Rio Grande Valley. Nichols and Corpus return a lot. UIW's done well in the portal. The league's gotten better as well. So there'll be a lot more landmines in the league than there were the year before. So I think we've gotten better. But I think a lot of other people in our league can say that. A lot of other people across the country can say that.
Yeah. And I really like your non-conference schedule. You open up in South Dakota. Thank God you're playing. South Dakota State. Thank God you're playing in November there, not February.
It's still going to be a little rough for us Southerners in November, but we'll make it work.
But just layer. And then you play at Alabama. I mean, that's going to be a great test. North Texas is always a good team.
I may have COVID when we play Bama.
Why? You're familiar with Bama and their craziness, but you go to Paradise Jam, better not get COVID down there, and you play Santa Clara. We've had Herb Sendick on the show. Santa Clara is a great ball team. Mississippi State, and then what I love is you got Joe Charles from Louisiana. You play him, Coach Marlin. Why would you do that to Coach Marlin, man? We love Coach Marlin.
We were it's a 4-year deal, so it was signed before we got here. So they played at our place last year. We play at their place, and we're only separated by we're separated by an hour, just right across the Atchafalaya Basin. So it's a quick ride for us. Go over day of the game, turn around and come back. So it's a good series. It's a good game. It's a game that the schools have played each other for years.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully that'll continue.
Yep. So, I mean, what you've achieved last year, with that 30-win season, I mean, is there more pressure, coming in this year? I mean, you guys have, we already mentioned, you guys are just stacked. It seems like you worked on a lot of the depth of the roster. And you guys are just so deep. You got Christian, you got Shu coming back, could be player of the year candidate. And then you've got Sincere Parker from SLU, probably the newcomer of the year preseason. What kind of anticipation are you guys looking at in the locker room here, and how are the guys coming together?
Yeah, I mean, look, we don't put any, I don't really worry about the external pressure. We try to focus on what we got going on every day and just getting better and putting the team in the right place, putting these pieces in the right places to where we play well together and where we multiply our talent. Sometimes when you have a lot of talent, you can divide talent if you don't play them the right way and they don't play well together. And so we're trying to make sure everything fits right and that everybody multiplies their talent, and then we move the talent forward. So, we feel good about what we've done. We've got a lot more progress. I think this year's team is going to be a little bit more of a work in progress as the season gets started and as we get going. We've had some injuries. We've got some guys who have been out. We've got some guys who have missed time. I think by the time for our first game, we'll have everybody available, but we may only, we've got a couple guys that may have only been available a week to 10 days. And I'm not sure how ready they're going to be, to play South Dakota State in a virtual road game up there. So, we're going to be a little bit of a work in progress as we move forward. But look, you'd rather have and not need than need and not have. So we've got plenty of parts, we got plenty of pieces, and now it's on us as a staff to fit it together right and make sure that it plays together in the right way.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem you're going to have is there's only one basketball.
Yeah, I mean, your backcourt is just stacked. You got Richard and Garcia who can, they can both shoot the three. And, if they miss, you got Shu down low, who's, probably on any given night the best offensive rebounder in the country. It's like, it seems like you do have the pieces, and you thought pretty strategically in how you did it. And this is the second year you've just done so well in the transfer portal.
Yeah, but Sam, remember what we talked about him? He's embraced it.
He has embraced it.
I remember that. That stuck with me, Coach. You really embraced the transfer portal.
Oh, yeah. It ain't going anywhere. So you sit there and complain about it, whatever you want. But
actually, it might. We'll know for sure on the championship game that morning when you're playing that night. We'll hear about the NCAA that day. Like, how? Like, can you make it any other day when it's like the biggest game of the year for college basketball?
Yeah,
whatever.
It's wild. But I mean, the portal, they're going to close the window down a little bit, I think, from 45 to 30 days. But I mean, look, once you give somebody something, it's very, very hard to take it back. And so the players.
You got kids, Coach?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I
exactly.
got a so,
yeah.
I mean,
you know how that works.
The players have the juice now. And so that's never going back. And so, look, I think it's great. Some kids make poor decisions. Some kids make great decisions, but that's the American way, man. If you make good decision, good things happen. You make poor decisions, you got to make good things happen, or you're going to slide a little bit. And so, that's the way it goes. And we got to play with the cards we're dealt.
Yeah. What is your recruiting pitch to some of these guys? Because I mean, it seems you've just been so successful getting high major guys who are kind of averaging 5 to 15 minutes a game, who are just like kind of have a chip on their shoulder, looking for that opportunity to kind of prove themselves on the national level. Like, I mean, you got Quadir Copeland from Syracuse, Brandon Murray, for school, but did really well at Georgetown. Minutes went down at Ole Miss last year, and what are you telling these guys?
I can't tell you that. No. No,
you can.
I can. But no, I mean, look, we have a certain formula that we stick to. We're pretty analytics based with the portal, and we've got some numeric stuff that fit at certain positions. And then, we're looking for, some undervalued guys, some guys that we think that we put them in a larger role, gave them a little bit more responsibility, and what they did in their smaller role at their previous school, if that was, if everything was moved up, we would see what those numbers would look like at the previous school. And so we've tried to really take a, pretty analytical approach to it all. And then we watch the film and see if the personalities match. I mean, you can get some lemons out of the portal now too. There's so many kids in that thing. And, if they don't work to get better, or if they don't recognize why they're in the portal, their problems aren't changing or going away just because they change schools. I mean, there's got to be some level that they want to change, and they believe that you can help them change. Murray was simple. He played for us as a freshman. He had what he felt like was his best year with us as a freshman, myself and Vernon Hamilton, my assistant, and he wanted to come play for us again. Like, it was basically that simple. And so, some guys, they understand, that, hey, maybe we didn't appreciate some of the stuff as much early on, but now that we've been around some other places, hey, I need this. I need the discipline. I need the day-to-day routine. I need some of the stuff that maybe I wasn't as fond of early on. And so, we're very forthright with everybody in the recruitment. Hey, this is where you are. This is what your strengths are. This is what your weaknesses are. Here's how we think we can really, showcase your strengths. And here's how I think we can shore up some of the weaknesses. But in order to do that, you're going to have to change. And here's what you're going to have to change to do. And if you're willing to do that, then we're here as a willing dance partner. If you're not willing to do that, go somewhere else and we'll beat your ass when we play you.
Yeah, love it. And I'm curious, as you guys had a really great year, 30-4, 17-1 in conference. Your only loss came to Southeastern Louisiana, 77-74, so 3-pointer pretty much. How difficult, with the success you had last year and the players potentially at that time coming in this year, how difficult was it to put together such a good non-conference schedule?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Chambers, my assistant, he did a great job with the non-conference schedule. We get on those scheduling boards and, somebody say, hey, we need a game. Coach Chambers would call them a minute later. Oh, we already found a game. We're like, damn, you just posted it a minute ago, so nobody, a lot of people didn't want to play, but look, you just keep hammering away at it. We've been talking to Santa Clara for a long time. They eventually came in and played us at home. We've been talking to North Texas for a long time. They eventually came in and played us at home. So you keep hammering away. Certainly, you don't want to be doing scheduling on October 1st, but that's the way it is. I say this all the time. The only time people lie more than recruiting is in scheduling these days. So look, and everybody, it's a tough deal. It's just a math equation. It's like anything else. Everybody wants home games, and there's limited supply. There's limited supply and basically unlimited demand for home games. And so if you're going to get Division I home games, you're just going to have to wait it out, because eventually everybody says, all right, like I've got to play a game. So it's better to go on the road and play the game. It's just hard to get the home games early unless you're paying a bunch of money and buying a bunch of home games. And so it's the way scheduling works these days. And look, I mean, it's the scheduling is certainly geared to help. The power conference teams have a huge advantage in scheduling. Teams in our league don't. I've been on both sides of it. That's the way it is. I'm not complaining about it here. We've put together the best schedule probably in our school's history. One of the best schedules in the Southland Conference probably ever. We've got 2 quad 2 home games. We've got some quad 1 opportunities on some neutral courts. Possibly 2 neutral court quad 1s, 1 road quad 1, and some another potential quad 2 road game, another potential quad 2 neutral game. So, I mean, we put together as good of a non-conference schedule as we can, and look, that's just the way it is. So you do the best with what you got, and that's what we've done. But we're appreciative of the teams that have agreed to play. And I mean, it really is a good game. Everybody talks in scheduling about, Iowa State's model. Well, Iowa State's model is, quite frankly, not that good. It works for them, but it doesn't work for majority. People should be talking about what Alabama does. Alabama's got it down. Now, Alabama's even a little bit to the other extreme. I mean, Alabama's playing us, Arkansas State. I mean, they're playing everybody that's basically picked to win their leagues on top of their big time. But they can absorb 12 or 13 losses, and they're still going to be a single-digit seed in the NCAA tournament. In fact, they're still probably going to be better than a 6 seed in the NCAA tournament. They could lose 12 or 13 games this year. Now, they won't. But, Iowa State's works because they can put you in the meat grinder on defense with their style of play, and they can drive the numbers up through the efficiencies without the efficiencies being capped. Not every team who tries to schedule all those bad teams can do to those bad teams what Iowa State does. They can maybe beat them by similar margins, but you still have to run up your efficiencies against them, which they can't do what Iowa State does. So that thing works for Iowa State, and it's really good. But the people who are trying to copy it, it's not going to work as well for them. People need to be looking at what Alabama does. That's the way to really do it.
Do you think to go back to Iowa State, do you think Coach TJ wearing a really tight shirt that helps them too with their scheduling?
I don't know. He obviously works out quite a bit more than I do, but look, they've got a hell of a team. They got a top 10 team, top 5 team. I mean, their defense is phenomenal. They trap you on the baseline. I mean, they're extremely good, and them playing all those 300+ teams, it works because, like I said, their defensive efficiency numbers are just ridiculous, and they can just they hold those teams to 40, 45 points. And so not everybody can do that. Those teams score 60, 65 points against you. You don't get the same value out of the game that Iowa State's getting. And so, it's really smart how they schedule, but I think the high majors should be looking way more at what Alabama does. Because
Memphis, coach. Have you seen Memphis' schedule?
Memphis, even, for example, their schedule. I know they're in the Maui. And I know they've got a bunch of SEC teams. I think Missouri, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, maybe.
Clemson, Virginia. I think they play Arkansas State. I mean, they play OU, I think, who's predicted to potentially win the MAC. I mean, their schedule is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. So when you talk about,
when I was at VCU, we used to scrimmage Virginia. They're no fun to play against. I can assure you. The two least favorite teams to play against would be them in Houston.
The Woohoos. What are they called? The Woohoos?
Wahoos.
Whatever. Wahoos.
Coach, when you talk about like different strategies for different teams for scheduling and everything, like how do you? I mean, I'm just really impressed by one, kind of what you've done last year, but also it seems like you and the AD Heath Schroyer. I mean, you guys are both kind of masterminds at what you guys are doing, right? Like very big picture kind of conversations, I'm assuming, are happening in the background, like where you guys want to be 5-10 years from now. How do you kind of manage those aspirations with just the day-to-day as a mid-major program?
Yeah, I mean, look, we have incredible support, not only from my AD, my president, Dr. Roos is he's unbelievable. I mean, we sit in a room, Heath and I, with him, and we're like, oh, okay. I mean, he's like on a different level. He's an economist. He ran the Federal Reserve in Chicago. I mean, he's got all this data and spreadsheets, and just very, very sharp guy, but very into athletics and sees what athletics can do to change the university and change the course of our university. And so, look, I'm very fortunate that one, I was able to get back in after getting fired at LSU and after the investigations and the show cause and all that. And two, I was, very fortunate to land at a place that, that wants to win and wants to win. Now, we hadn't won in a long time, but they want to win. Make no mistake about it. And, my AD is a former basketball coach. He's somebody I've known a long time. He gets the value of basketball and how important having a good basketball team is for the athletic department, for the university. And so, we've certainly been aggressive with what we're doing scheduling wise, et cetera. And so getting in the Paradise Jam was huge for us. Teams at our level, you don't get in those type tournaments. To get 3 neutral games against other good teams is really, really important. And so we were able to kind of got to have that to build around, and us being able to build out around that tournament was huge. And Nell's letting us in that thing was big time.
Is that pretty much how you got the guys to agree to go to South Dakota?
Well, I was the only one dumb enough to play South Dakota State. Nobody else would play them, and I'll play anybody. It doesn't really matter. And so we were actually supposed to play in South Dakota last year in an MTE, and nobody wanted to play us in South Dakota State, so we couldn't get anybody to go up there. And then the Field of 68, they contacted us because they knew we'd have a hard time getting games. And I said, sure, we'll play. And then he calls me back and is like, will you play South Dakota State? None of the rest of these teams want to play them. I'm like, whatever, that's fine. So that was it came together pretty quick with those guys. And it's going to be, look, it's going to be a great opener. You got us in South Dakota State. You got St. Louis out there, who's going to be
Clara,
the best teams in the Atlantic 10. Santa Clara, who we play later on, who is phenomenal. Southern Illinois, Southern Illinois had a tremendous program for a long time. So, I mean, look, College of Charleston is they've been to back-to-back NCAA tournaments, and Coach Mack is back there, and phenomenal coach. So it's going to be a great day of basketball, and should be a fun event. And it's a good showcase for mid-major teams on opening night.
Yeah. You talked a little bit about how the Southland has improved over, the past year. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Kind of some of your peers like, Coach Sadler and Coach Brooks, and then bringing in a Stephen A. Austin with Coach Keller, talk a little bit about the conference this coming year.
Yeah. I mean, the conference, I think, has gotten quite a bit better. We're going to have 4 or 5 teams probably in the top 175, which is, which doesn't sound like a lot for most, but we've typically had, 1 or 2 teams in the top 175 and everybody else 300 or less. But we're going to have 4 or 5 in the top 175, I believe. And then, we're going to have a couple more in the 200s, and we're still going to have 3 or 4 or 5 maybe in the back end of the 300s. But look, I mean, the league is as competitive as ever. You've got Corpus, who came in second last year. They returned Gary Clark, tremendous player. They returned some wings who can shoot. They returned their big guy, Big Steven in the middle. You got Nichols. Boog has done just a tremendous job. We played them in the conference title game last year. You talk about somebody who's just a phenomenal coach. Everybody talks about how young he is. He's a great coach. I don't care that he's 29 years old. Like he's a hell of a coach. And he cleaned up in the portal as well. He went out and got him some good transfers. Some really highly rated guys. A kid who was with him at Maryland. He got a kid from out west. He brought a kid home from Louisiana who was a Gardner Webb, who's a big time rebounder. So I mean, he went out and did a great job in the portal. You look at Stephen F., who's traditionally been, when they were in the league before, they ran it. They've got probably the best resources of anybody in the league in terms of budget, in terms of how they operate. And Coach Keller's a tremendous coach. They're going to try to play a little bit faster this year. They went out and got, former 4-star Chris Johnson from Texas. They got a big kid from Central Florida who's a potential game changer. They got really, really good scoring guard as well. And you look at what UIW did in the transfer portal. Coach Hireman getting the kids, the 2 guards from Ball State, the MAC, and bringing them in, and they're going to be much improved. He returns a lot of his main guys and then added those guys. Lamar, Coach Brooks, like you mentioned, he does a great job. Old school. He does a lot more through kind of traditional junior college. He goes and gets a lot of JUCO kids. We're only 45 minutes from them. It's a great junior college area. With all the East Texas JUCOs are within, us, Stephen F. Austin, and them, we can get to any East Texas JUCO in 3 hours, basically. Stephen F. and them are even closer than we are. We gotta wind through the bayou a little bit to get there. Those guys go straight through the forest. But look, Coach Brooks has done a great job with that, and Southeastern, I think, has improved. They bring back a lot of guys. They've added some good kids from junior college. Added a couple portal kids. So, and Rio Grande Valley, I don't know a ton about them, but they took a really good shooter from Northwestern State. They've got a guard back who was like a 13-8 guy in the WAC, like 6'5", 6'6" point guard. They obviously hired a tremendous coach from BYU, knows how to run offense. And so I think they're going to be really good. And one thing that gets lost is sometimes when you're on the edges of the league, like they are, they've got a huge home court advantage. One, they've got a beautiful facility. They're pouring a bunch of money into it. But two, it's a long haul for all of us. I'm in the middle of the league. It's a 7.5-hour drive for us. And I'm smack dab in the middle of the league. All the teams, New Orleans, Nichols, Southeastern, most of them are going to have to fly. That's a haul to get down there. And so I think they're going to have a tremendous home court advantage on top of having really, really good players. But the league overall is going to be much improved, much better. We didn't mention Northwestern State. They may have the most talented player in the whole league in Patterson, a former 4-star kid from Oregon, played for Coach Cabrera at Tallahassee Community College. He's really, really good. And so, look, it's going to be a tough league, a lot tougher road games this year, I believe. And, should be fun.
Yeah. Sam, let's start them off, but I want to say something. I love going on Instagram and watching your chalkboard discussions, but I love the bricks. I love when a kid gets in trouble and he's got to go against the wall and hold
just
the
a
brick.
reminder, just a gentle reminder to get their muscle memory to make sure that we're building the right habits.
Do you ever do the bricks?
Oh yeah, if I screw up, sometimes I'll go over there and do them. If I
Yeah.
screw something up, I'll go over there and do them. Yeah.
We used to back in the day, Sam, I never did this because I was coaching, but Sam, who played for me, they used to have to hold the 25-pound weight and drive the bus.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I didn't like that. When I tried it once when they were there, I'm like, this sucks.
Yeah.
Remember that, Sam? Drive the bus, baby.
Yeah, it's some trauma, that's for sure. But it's a good reminder for sure. So, Coach, we're going to go into the shot clock. LT is going to fire off, 5-6 questions. Should be pretty easy. Some of them might be one-word answers. Some might lead to a little short story. But LT, let's get it.
All right. One word to describe the Southland.
Gritty.
Okay. Biggest misconception of Southland Conference basketball.
I would say, it's hard to do in one word. I'm going to have to get.
All right. You can have like 16 words. It's fine.
Yeah. I would say that, the league's a lot better than it's rated. And a lot of that's because these bye games, some of these teams in our league, New Orleans, for example, I mean, they've got to play. I mean, every game's a bye game damn near in the non-conference for them. Mm-hmm. And they get in conference and they're so beaten up. But these are good teams. These are these are good teams. Houston Christian, I think they hired a new coach. So they don't have to play quite as many as they did under Coach Cottrell. But I mean, the teams don't get the credit that they deserve because they get sent on the road for these bye games for so long. And there's some of us in the league. Look, we're fortunate. We only have to play 1, 2, or 3. Us and Corpus and Stephen F. I don't know if Stephen F. has to play any. When you look at what Boog's done at Nichols, I mean, he's got to go play 4 or 5 of them. Mm-hmm. And it's really tough. And so you don't get the credit that you deserve for going and playing those games. It's not even that you lose. I mean, sometimes the kids lose hope. The kids lose faith in what you're doing. You got to rebuild all that. I mean, it's brutal putting those guys through some of those things that they've got to go through in the league. And I don't think there's nearly enough respect put on that, within nationally, I guess I should say.
And that's a lot of the mid-majors. I mean, if you look in your league particular, 5 of your top 10 teams had above 500 records in conference. So they obviously are good teams and they're competitive. I mean, once you get into conference, it doesn't matter if the team's 0-15. Right. You could potentially lose to them. I mean, it happens. So
correct.
All right. Toughest arena to play in the conference.
Ours.
Okay. I believe it.
Ours. But I think I haven't been to Stephen F. I think Stephen F.'s going to be very tough. The crowd at Lamar last year was great. Of course, we brought a great crowd to Lamar too. But I'd say ours is probably the toughest spot to play. Okay.
Most animated coach on the sideline in the Southland.
Ooh, most animated coach on the sideline. I don't know. Boog's the best dressed for sure at Nichols. Most animated. I don't know. I mean, I don't think anybody's overly animated in our league. Maybe me. Shoot. I can get pretty fiery. Trying to think.
So you're saying the conference officials are pretty good in your conference?
Huh?
The officiating in your
I
conference.
will say this: the officiating is not nearly as bad in our league as everybody led me to believe it would be. We've got some good officials in our league. We got some really good young officials. We've got some veteran guys who have worked some games. The officiate. Look, I mean, every league they complain about officiating, but us shifting our games to Monday nights has really helped. It's helped with exposure. We had 18 plays on SportsCenter Top 10 between all of our leagues. It's worth $50,000 a clip almost to the universities. And so us shifting to Monday nights, 1, helped with exposure. 2, it's helped with officiating. But our officiating's not bad at all. But I'd say everybody in the league, I can't think of one guy who's really, really just over the top. Over the top. It's definitely not Coach Brooks at Lamar. He's the most stoic, I think, of the crew. But it may be me. Okay. You'd have to poll the officials on that. Probably they'd be a better poll than the coach.
There you go.
We're actually going to bring a little official trivia question. Which team fouled the most in conference last year?
Oh, it had to be Corpus.
21 fouls called per game. That's aggressive.
Was it Corpus?
Yes, it was. You were correct.
Oh, there's no doubt. 21. They fouled every possession. You could have called 51. I mean, they fouled every possession. You could have called them. You could have called a foul on every spot. Yeah, they were one of the worst in the country, I believe.
Yes, they were. They were up there. They were up there.
I'm not saying that as a knock.
No.
I mean, that's how they are. They're just physical.
Right.
It's like playing football. I mean, they're body checking you out front. They're body checking you down low. I mean, you got to play through contact. You got to play through contact. You got to play through, just play through two hands on the ball handler all the time. But that's not a surprise. I'd say Commerce was probably up there as well.
Yeah, Commerce was up there. Who fouled the least? 14.6 fouls called per game as a team. Who was it?
Us?
Nope. You were 10th with 17.3. Someone fouled even less than you. I'll tell you who it is, just so I don't make you think too much. Houston Christian.
There we go. Okay. Oh, I did know that. They were like one of the top teams in the country in foul margin, like in free throw margin and stuff. Now, I did know that. They were like one of the best teams in the country at that.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe
they only played like 7 guys too. They played a very, very short rotation. So they couldn't.
Well, you can if you don't foul.
Yeah. They couldn't.
let's be honest.
It was the best I've ever played at that. We played when I was at Chattanooga, we played Wisconsin and Bo Ryan. I think they fouled us like 3 times the entire game. And it was a really well called game. Like the officials, I mean, they just never fouled. Absolutely never fouled. They showed their hands on they'd be chesting you and they'd show their hands and they never fouled.
Did you check the degrees of the officials after the game?
No. It didn't matter. We got beat so bad it didn't make any difference. I can assure you.
All right. So the Southland is starting a candle collection and they're going to do a Will Wade candle. What scent would it be?
Oh gosh, I have no clue. I have no idea. I don't even know how to answer that.
We've heard everything from gunpowder smoke to vanilla bourbon, so can't go wrong.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Strawberry. Coach Flanagan was strawberry. Remember that one?
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
All right,
know.
we filled that one. So Sam, finish him off.
Yeah, Coach, we're going to turn it over to you last minute of the episode. Anything you want to share with the Lake Charles community, or what anybody can be expecting in the Legacy Center this year? How the team's coming together? The platform's yours, Coach.
No, we're excited. We've sold over 1,000 season tickets. General season tickets. We've sold over 1,500 when you include our luxury areas, the suites, the Platinum Club, and the floor seats. And so everybody's excited. And look, we got to make it happen now. So we appreciate our community support. We appreciate the support of the university and the area. And so now we're looking forward to getting on the court and making things happen.
Coach, we really appreciate. You're gonna stick on for one more second, but yeah, Sam, another great episode. I mean, we're big fans of what you guys are doing down there, and check out Southland basketball. And yeah, Coach, thanks for joining us on the Full Court Press podcast. We'll be back next week or tomorrow, or who knows. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review, and we'll have some more college basketball with some more great coaches. So, Sammy, let's do it.
Let's get it.